Good morning, peoples. How's everybody doing? Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is G. Nothing is organized on this channel, so you get it as you get it. Oh, this woman. Right, I need to move for a woman. Okay, is she just parking? Okay. So I'm going to work, but my daughter keeps. I just been to the post office to drop off some important documents. Does she want me to leave? Okay, let me just leave because so I went to drop off some important documents for postage and I'm now going to work, but I promised my daughter that I would do pink nails for her on me because she keeps asking when my nails, what's happened to my nails. She's never known me without my nails done. So she's like, Mommy, where are your nails? And she keeps asking. She asked again on the weekend. So I remember that I've got this Claire's accessories. I hear they've gone into administration or something. And to be honest, I'm shocked because I thought they would have gone into administration years ago. I mean, who goes to Claire's? With Amazon taking over everything, that's what I mean. So no shade. I'm just gonna look for somewhere nice to park so I can do my pink nails for my babe girl. And this allegedly dries in 90 seconds. So at least by the time I film this and get to work, it should be done. So, and it doesn't have to be perfect as long as it's on. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna stop here. So, there's a school here. I don't want to look dodgy, so I'm gonna move up. How's everyone doing? And I'm really invested in getting this 90 days finished. I think I'm on day 84 or something, and I will get it finished. I'm actually driving through somewhere that in the first 10 days of me recording, I recorded walking down here, which is really weird. But I can't remember what I talked about in the last episode. I think I might have said something about, trying to I think it was something to do with the new year or something. I don't remember, it's a long time ago. But this week I had a really good weekend. I went to a house party. It was very unplanned, but it was lovely. Right, I'm gonna stop here. I went to a house party and it was... What are you doing, man? There's a road sweeper and I was reversing. Not reversing, turning around. Okay, it better just be driving past because I'm not moving. Oh God, there's a car coming. I have to move. Anyway, so yeah, it is sweeping the roads. The side, what they call the side, the bit that goes on the curb. Anyway, as usual, content creator extraordinaire. I'm talking. I'm distracted. But I remember walking down here when I was talking about finally reading what's happened at my redundancy chat, like reading the reports. I remember walking here and talking about it and recording it for YouTube. Oh my goodness. God is great. That's all I have to say. God is great. Right, I'm just gonna drive towards work and then I'll park somewhere because I was gonna do the nails and then start driving and talking, but let me just go so I wanted to talk about, I'm not sure what I wanted to talk about. I always have a few things I want to talk about, but I think today I want to talk about what happened yesterday. So yeah, I was saying I went to a house party on Saturday. It was lovely. I almost died. Okay, that sounds dramatic, but I ate lemon cake that I didn't know was lemon cake. layovers lemon cake, and I'm allergic to citrus, so that was fun. And the paramedic, a guest that happened to be a paramedic going to work, had just left. And yeah, anyway, so that was fun. And then yesterday at church, they were talking about the lady that was preaching. I think she was a guest preacher. I've never seen her before. Lovely lady. She was dressed like she was going hiking, which was brilliant. Like, she was literally dressed like after service she was going hiking. I loved it. She was so relaxed, and so it was amazing. And her the title of her sermon was Braving the Wilderness. And as you all know from this channel, the wilderness months is what I call the last 6 months of last year. So that was actually quite apt. That when I saw the title, I just smiled to myself, and I sat right in front, like the first row on the edge, because most of the time when I go to church, I don't want to be distracted by literally other bodies being there. So it depends on how I'm feeling. I just went straight to the front, and I just sat there and braving the wilderness, and I was writing stuff down. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. For me, and apparently this was supposed to be for everyone that believes in God, for me, church always confirms something God has already told me. And it was just amazing to hear in retrospect all that I've been through, and how the wilderness shapes you and transforms you and all that stuff, which is all very, very true. And it was just very, very comforting to see someone else talking about it. And it is nice to... I've never been to any sermon where it's been talked about like that. Like, apart from reading about Jesus going into the wilderness, and I believe he was instructed to, as the lady said, you don't really hear about wilderness stories. You hear testimonies and stuff like that, but a wilderness season, that's like not a one-time thing. That's like an ongoing thing for a while. So yeah, anyway, so she did that. She talked, and everything I wrote down I knew already, but it was just nice to write it down. And then she said at the end, when she was doing the call to altar, she said, if you feel like you're in your wilderness season, number one, and then number two, if you feel like you're coming out of your wilderness season, then come to the front. And I did, obviously. And there was a lady that came out next to me, and I remember she was the only person apart from the man next to her who looked like he looked like, I don't know how to explain it, he looked like a bald version of Rag and Bone Man, the singer. That's the only one, and this very slim version. So for some reason, those were the only two people I clocked that came to the front. And I think it was like maybe 3 rows of us that came to the front. I don't really know. But the lady next to me, there was something, I remember making some sort of mental note about her. And, they did lots of praying. And within a few minutes, maybe a couple of minutes of being there, the lady had an encounter. And she broke down. Like, she was crying. I mean, she started crying, a little bit like sniffling, listening to what the lady was saying. I guess a lot of it resonated with her. So she started sniffling and crying and stuff. And then the crying got more crying. And yeah, so to the point where they had to hold her. One of the lead pastors had to hold her from the back. And the lady preaching I think it was when the lady preaching laid her hands on her and prayed specific prayers, and I think she was spoken tongues over her, but she was feeling so. That's what I remembered. When the lady preacher, when when she first put her hand on the woman, like on her shoulder, she almost fell back. Like there was like something. She almost fell back. So I think she was taking something off of her. And if I was not next to her, I wouldn't believe it. And also, as a Nigerian African, if this was a mainly Nigerian church or mainly black church, I'd be like, what in the film trick is going on? Because there's so many instances, you see them online, where people pretend that, the spirit took them, but they didn't. It's all an act. But this was the Caucasian lady, and again, like I said, she was dressed like she was going walking after the sermon. She had walking boots and everything. So but because I was there, I felt it as well. And it was a wonderful service. It was a wonderful sermon. It felt like we were I know it's an auditorium, but there's certain sermons that feels like we're in someone's massive living room. I don't know, like we're in God's living room or something. It's weird. I don't know how else to explain it. So she took the force of whatever that was, and she was with her for a long time. She was with the lady for a long time. And then when they left her, they didn't leave her for a very long time. But then after they left her, she calmed down a bit, and I just stood there. I didn't have to, because people were now going back to sit down. But there was just something. I just stood there, and then I moved closer to her. I took like 2 steps closer to her, and then I took another step closer to her, and then I noticed that she was shaking, and she had both her hands up like this, and the whole time her eyes were closed the whole time. And at this point she was just doing normal crying, and then I had to hold her. I held her around her waist, and she was crying and crying, and she was shaking. She was shaking so much that, because of what they were still talking about, she was shaking so much that I had to then give her a side hug and hold her. And I was holding her tight because I felt like if I didn't, she was going to fall. And I had to, when you have to brace yourself, I had to adjust my foot, so that I was bracing myself so that if she was going to fall or whatever, I'd catch her. And then thankfully someone else came and held her from the other side, and then he went and he prayed for her, then he went, and then another lady, when everybody else had gone to sit down, she was still there, another lady came and held her on there, so at least I knew it was secure. And we were there till the end of everything. I don't even know how long we were there for, but the reason I'm sharing this story is because I recognized every single different cry she cried. And I don't know how else to explain that, but I recognized every single cry that she cried. The first cry was anger. There's no two ways about it. That first cry was anger. I want to kill somebody, and I'm 99.9% sure it was a man. That one I know. And then the other cries were disappointment, disobedience to God, failure, fear, giving up. I recognized every single cry. And it was weird because for me, I was like, these are all the cries I've cried at different times in this church when I've come to the front. And she did them all in one. And I was just thinking, if I hadn't done so much work on myself and listened to the Spirit and really faced everything properly, that would have been me having a breakdown, or an encounter, as I like to call it. And her last cry, and I told her this afterwards when I was speaking to her, her last cry was of surrender. Her last cry was definitely of surrender, because I recognized it. And we managed to get her out to the auditorium. They got her a chair, to the foyer, and she sat down, and she was still crying. We needed to collect our children, but it's okay. The children were safe, and she was just crying. Got her tissues, And then when she finally opened her eyes, I'm telling you, this woman's eyes were closed for a good 20 minutes. When she finally opened her eyes, they were beyond red. And I was kneeling in front of her and like stroking her arms. And I asked her if she was okay. And then I said a few things to her, like, you've started your healing. Because when I was next to her, one thing I did say, one prayer I said for her was, you are healed. You are absolutely healed. You've brought everything here. You are healed. And I said to her that as she has given everything at that time, don't take any of it back. Don't take any of it back. As you've given everything at this altar today, fully, don't take anything back. You are healed. And then I just spoke to her and I said, the reason why I stayed with her was I didn't want her to fall. And number two, I didn't want her to, what's the word? I didn't want her to think she was alone. I wanted her to know that what she was going through was something that I could relate to, that someone could relate to, because I always find it quite, is it therapeutic? But you know, when you meet someone that's going through the same thing you're going through, it makes you feel less alone. And that was another thing I told her, because she said, I don't know what she said. And I said to her, you're never alone. You're never alone. And I couldn't remember the verse. I think it's Matthew. I saw it on my wall this morning. I was like, you're never alone. So I asked her, I said, are you married? She goes, yeah. I said, have you got kids? She said, yes. I said, is some of your wilderness season to do with your marriage and your husband? She said, yeah. She didn't even say yes. She was just nodding. I was like, okay. And I basically confirmed all the things that I, what's the word? I'm going to have to do this at lunchtime. That I know to be true for me and my situation, because I can only ever talk about things that I've got. I can never know where the camera is. I can only talk about things that I've gone through. I can't talk about anything else. So, and I think for me, it was nice to, it made me remember a lyric from Alessia Cara's Scars to You're Beautiful, where towards the end of the song, she said something about, let me be your mirror or something. And in that moment, that's what I felt like I was hoping to convey to her that I've been through it. I've survived it. I'm still standing. I didn't die. And I said to her, I said, I am just coming out of it. And I am so grateful I went through it, because now the way I am now, mentally, spiritually, nothing. Because once you faced all the fears, once everything you fear has happened, there's nothing left. There's nothing left. And I was trying to say to her, like, look, just fully give him everything. Give everything to God. And don't take anything back. Surrender it all. And, yeah, and then I gave her my number. I told her she can call me whenever if she needs anything, or if she just wants to talk or whatever. Like, because I'm like, look, it's only because I've been through it, but she doesn't have to. Lovely lady. And then her daughter came out. Then my son came. He was like, Mommy, what's wrong? I'm like, it's okay. And yeah. But it was just such a lovely... I still haven't processed it. This is the first time I've thought about it again since it happened. And, but I'll process it at some point. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. So for anyone coming out of your wilderness months, it's a time of transformation, but you have to shine your eye and really understand what is happening. Because if you don't, you will miss it, and then you have to wait for the next wilderness to happen, which, but yeah. All right, I will. I forget that people can walk through here to get to there's a man just walking in the car park. Have a lovely day, and I will see you guys soon. I don't know why I'm whispering. Okay, bye. Some of us have to walk.